G'day there guys, thinks changing shirts for new introductions is a personality trait? It's your host Markee and welcome back to another episode of r/AmiTheA. If you love today's content, please do tell me what you think about it down in the comments. If there's anything else, just smash that like button and enjoy the show. Thank you. Posted by user Leo the Leon, titled, Am I the a-hole if I back out of being maid of honor at my best friend's wedding next weekend? Best man is my ex-fiancé who cheated on me, and I can't be around him, let alone walk arm in arm with him. Jump into the worst week of my life. I was with my ex-fiancé for 6 years. Loved him with every fiber of my being, wedding planned for August. Refused a job offer so could move with him for his next Air Force assignment. Monday, a call girl from a website called Massage Republic texts him in the middle of the night, saying she's reaching out to old clients because she's back in the game. His phone was at my house while he was flying. I text back she must have the wrong number. She says she doesn't. In a moment of brains, I pretend to be him instead of the jealous girlfriend, and call girl gives me all the details. I'm such a fool, this had been happening under my nose for years. I confront him. He claims to be a sex addict and promises to change. I consider it for half a second and say no. Cue uncontrollable crying, self-doubt, a battery of STD tests, awkward encounters with him, fights over the ring, his mum, who I loved, calling me non-stop and begging me to reconsider, and on and on. And on top of all of this, my best friend is marrying his best friend May 11th. Groom doesn't want to rock the boat at this late date and is selecting a new best man. Bride says she has way too much on her plate and is begging me to just go through with it, and she'll, quote-unquote, make it up to me. I've never hated a human being as much as I hate him. I can't be in the same room with him, let alone walk arm in arm with him. I understand the whole wedding doesn't need to fall apart because I'm upset. So I just want to not go and spend the day downing the leftover Percocets from my wisdom teeth operation, fudging as many Tinder dudes who can stand to be around me after not showering, and burning all his crap. Would I be the a-hole if I back out of the wedding? That's quite the description of activities you're going to take currently. I support it. You do you, whatever helps you recover. I honestly don't think you'd be the a-hole if you backed out of the wedding. I know weddings are a lot of work, but there's nothing stopping them from finding someone else to come to the wedding in place of the best man. This is an exceptional circumstance, and I feel like they're not making way for you, so you shouldn't have to go to the wedding because you've made your reasons clear. Hell, if it was my wedding, I'd move heaven and earth for a situation like this to stop the boat from rocking. Jesus Christ. It seems like you really don't have any other options, so I'm gonna say you wouldn't be the a-hole and you are not the a-hole if you back out of the wedding. Edit. Okay guys, I don't know what the verdict is, but whether or not you voted you're the a-hole or not the a-hole and said that I should go anyways to support my friends, we were friends before we were born. Our mums were college roommates. Your arguments were the most convincing. I'm gonna suck it up, participate, have fun, make my lock screen image the text from Panama, where she said, "Remember, you liked tonguing my a-hole?" So when I get sad, I have an instant reminder of who he really is. And then when it's all over, I'm gonna scream myself hoarse and beat the ever-living F out of my pillows. If I can update a week from now, I will. I still have a lot of reading to do, so thank you all for commenting. Edit 3 that won't be seen. Guys, I've had the worst week of my life, and been crying almost non-stop since 3 AM last Monday, or Tuesday, or whatever. I have to clear up people calling my best friend the a-hole. That just isn't the case at all. I love her as much as I love any person on the planet, and she has my back. But this wedding is now a week away. It is not a simple thing of kick me out or asking ex-fiancé not to come. Everyone is furious with him, but only she, me, and he know the details of call girls. My ex's parents, grandparents, and everyone else are going to be at the wedding. He's as close with the groom as I am with her. If they make big changes now, then the day becomes about what he did, not about the wedding. It's not my place to demand the groom change his best man a week out, no less. Plus, like I said, he knows my ex cheated. He doesn't know my ex was sleeping with prostitutes. If I bring that up, then this whole week becomes about that. My best friend and her groom being a-holes isn't even an option on the table. They didn't do anything wrong and are just reacting with the best information they have. My friend has offered me the chance to allow me and ex-fiancé to walk in with other people or even separately, but I'm not going to do that. First of all, because I think it'll look weird. And secondly, I foresee getting a sick sense of satisfaction of touching him one last time forever, and have him know that that spark he feels could have been forever come August, but he screwed it up. Not the a-hole, she cannot and will not ever make it up to you for putting you through that. The thing is, it's not just the walking down the aisle and other incidental moments of direct contact with the cheating ex-scumbag. It's the whole wedding. She was engaged. She would have to stand there and witness intimately loving vows and kisses and tender moments and pledges of devotion, all while it's incredibly fresh on her mind that she thought she was going to have that herself, and now won't. At least, not with her ex. That's pretty brutal. It's like going to a baby shower a few days after a miscarriage. Or going to a baby shower after someone kidnapped your baby and then having to partner up with that person and not fall apart the entire time. Not the a-hole, the ex is, since, believe it or not, the wedding is still legally valid, even if the couple has to promote a bridesmaid and ends up short one. Also, the couple is putting you in this position by not demoting the ex or kicking him out of the wedding party. Why is it you, the wronged party, who has to sacrifice? I am not quite ready to call them the a-hole, but they are nearer that line than you. Updates: am I the a-hole if I back out of my best friend's wedding? Best man was my ex-fiancé, who I found out was cheating. I've logged into this throwaway a couple of times over the past week, and honest to God have 50 DMs and comments asking me to update, so here goes. Some of you may also know that my story got featured on major news sites and blogs. It was crazy. I left way too much identifiable info in my post, so pretty much all my social circle knew that it was me, and it was also the way most everyone figured out my ex had been cheating. We had a meeting among the four of us as to whether or not we proceed. We pretty much agreed that not showing up would cause more drama and whispers than if we didn't show up. So we agreed to be civil and stay in our respective places. But having to spend that hour or so in the same room with him just fueled me up with adrenaline and pure rage. That led into the bachelorette party that night, where I got frickin' hammered, and honest to God, made out with so many guys while dancing, I can't even count. I also ended up having my first one-night stand ever with a 20-year-old super cute guy from our university's wrestling team who was so sweet. I'm not proud of doing that, but I'm also not ashamed either, because it made me feel so desirable, and almost like I was going into the wedding day and rehearsal with some parody, since I can be naughty too. X and I were of course paired up at the rehearsal, and I hate to admit this, but we had an absolute blast with each other. It wasn't a mistake that we had such a great and fun relationship. We are very compatible. It probably also worked because we were able to put the issue on the side and focus on something else. The wedding was very much the same way. We walked arm in arm down the aisle with big, beaming, and genuine smiles. We were there for our friends. I had prepared a really nasty maid of honor toast that would have praised my friend in her loving relationship, loyalty, and truthfulness. I even included a line about, "You never know who's going to call in the middle of the night." But as the reception wore on, I could tell the weight of the situation was really getting to my ex, and I felt like I really didn't need to twist the knife any further, so I gave a nice but very generic toast. As the night went on, X was more and more out of it, and sitting by himself either on his phone or with his head in his hand. I didn't want people talking about him, so I asked him to dance with me, which was actually really nice, since we both didn't say anything. At the end of it, he put his hand around my face like he was going to kiss me. I would have totally let him in that moment, and just whispered how sorry he was, and walked away. I got distracted and turned around, and he had apparently left the reception. I hate myself for it, but I was so sad to see him go. This wedding is literally the last thing we ever have to do with each other. There is no expectation of Game of Thrones Sundays or Bloody Mary brunches with his mum. We won't argue over how bad IPA beer smells, or who forgot to put petrol in the car. Like, the reality of him just being able to leave without me arguing that I'm not ready to go yet, classic introvert and extrovert pairing here, sunk in that this is over. Like, over. I went and cried uncontrollably in the kitchen of the hotel until the bride found me and cried with me for a good half an hour. With that, I knew that I made the right choice in being there for my friend. So that's that. The wedding is over and done with. No real drama, lots and lots of hurt feelings, and a huge broken heart that I'm not sure how it will ever heal. I wish I could just turn off loving him, but that's not going to happen. Posted by user Anonymous Account 87, titled, "Would I be the a-hole if I didn't adopt my dead husband's children?" Hello, I of course know how awful this sounds, but it's a recent development and I'm unsure if I'm completely in the wrong. Before I married my husband, he had 3 children with his ex-wife, who were 2, 2, and 5. When we got married, his ex was still bitter. I say this in the most respectful way possible, but it's true, as they'd only been divorced officially for a year. After that, custody was a big issue with us and her, and my husband fighting for full custody. Unfortunately, we only ended up getting weekends and the complete months of December and July while they were out of school. So it goes without saying I wasn't much of a mother figure to them, rather than their father's wife. My husband passed away 2 years ago in an accident, and I haven't seen them, aside from the funeral, in all that time. His wife called me up sometime last month to reveal that she's suffering from a terminal illness, a brain tumor, and that she was hoping I could take in the children after she passed. Both her and my husband's parents are far too old to even care for themselves completely. I still take his mother grocery shopping as she can't do it alone, and that there was no one else who could be able to take care of the children and support the children in a proper way. She said her sister suffers from addiction, and I'm not sure if that could be something the state would consider if there was truly no one left. I told her I'd consider and needed to think it over and would call her. In my mind, I feel that even though it's heartbreaking that she has to consider who will care for her children when she's dead so soon, but I'm not sold, and I don't want to jump in with full custody of 3 children who I haven't seen in 2 years. Ouch, this is a no a-holes here situation. No one really sucks, that's really sad. I've not got much to say about this one, and I feel like if you don't want to take the kids, you shouldn't, and you shouldn't have to, because that is a huge responsibility. If you feel like you don't have the capability to look after them, it would probably only be to the detriment of everyone. In the best case scenario, you should take them in and be a mother for them, but of course you don't have to, and there should be other family members besides the grandparents on either side that should be able to take them in or provide some level of care. But at least if you are there for them, and you're close by, and they know that you're there for support if they ever need it in the system, that would be good, that would be a start. But I'm gonna go with no a-holes here. Man, I think the ordinary rules don't work here. A quick tagline acronym to summarize such an enormous life problem? Nah, I'm gonna pass this time. First, let's set this straight. You do this, and you win the awesome person test. What you need to decide is simple. Are these kids in your heart? Are you the good kind of person who can give them the love they need? And if they are, leap. If you are, leap. If they are not, I feel deep sympathy for these kids. There are so many consequences here. I wish you the very, very best in dealing with this extraordinarily difficult topic. I feel like it's even more complicated than that too. Raising kids takes money. Are there available finances to take care of them? With as young as they are, can you afford daycare, babysitters, and nannies while you're off making the money to take care of them? In the US, it costs about $233,000 to raise one child until they're 18, not college. Take that times 3, and you get $699,000 for all 3 of them. Divide that by 18 years, and that's about $38,000 a year that you have to raise, along with paying standard bills. That's a really hefty sum to pay by yourself. I agree that doing this is incredibly selfless, and the alternative probably really sucks. But sometimes you have to take care of yourself first. Making the decision either way, I don't feel I should give you an a-hole title. Good luck, OP. No a-holes here, but I would personally find it impossible to allow the children of a man I loved to enter foster care. I know this is Reddit, and we are all probably Westerners who strongly believe in taking care of ourselves first and living our best lives and all that crap, but I urge you to consider another perspective. I work with children in foster care and adults who have aged out of foster care. No happy stories there. I'm 85% certain that 3 kids will be separated and put into different homes because it's almost impossible to find a home that can take 3 kids at once. It will fragment their relationships forever. It will traumatize them. If they're all lucky, they'll be adopted by nice people, but probably different people. If they're unlucky, they will become one of the kids that I work with who makes me cry at nights because we just can't pack decades of love and parenting into the limited interaction that we get with these kids. It's not that foster parents are horrible. They are often wonderful. The system is horrible. But some foster parents are horrible, and you'd be leaving it all up to chance. I urge you to also consider that these young children have lost both parents. This is hard enough for kids, but it will also be hard as they age. You are their only link to their biological parents. If you are at all able, even if it's hard, even if you're filled with doubts, please consider keeping them from an overburdened, underfunded system. If you cannot take them permanently, can you take temporary custody and work to find adoptive homes for them? Great adoptive parents are out there, but you will be best able to find them if you retain custody rather than leaving it to the state. If you feel unfit to be a mother, this is not a good solution. But if you think you can handle it for a while, then maybe you could work with a private adoption agency to place them in a good home. Parenting is terrifying. It really is. It's costly and overwhelming too. But if there is a part of you that is excited or interested, then maybe this is something that would work out well. Children can bring incredible joy into our lives, even as they bring distress. They can push us to become better, more resilient, more empathetic and caring versions of ourselves. If my husband died, I think I would do almost anything to keep the little pieces of him that were left in the world safe and happy. But that's me, and this is you. So do what you think is right. But just keep in mind that right and easy are often too far apart for human comfort. Good luck, friend, and I hope things work out. Update: would I be the a-hole if I didn't adopt my dead husband's children? I want to thank everyone for their condolences for my husband and the life he lost. I wasn't sure if it was my right to update this, as I'm sure I made a decision most people would think me awful for. But at this point, it's more of a releasing of feelings off my chest. As you know, my husband's ex is ill, and I still feel for her greatly with much sympathy, and will pray for her and her children. But it's been a very long time since I was in any way a parent to them. Even as a stepmother, most of their care went to my husband. I just don't feel I could properly care for them and myself in my life. I told her this, and I feel awful that I made her react the way she did. Crying and coughing. There was so much guilt I felt, it was awful. But I think I've always known my decision, that I wasn't going to take in the children. I just didn't want to acknowledge it because it made me feel awful. I wish I could tell you where she decided they are going, but after our meeting where I told her my decision, it's been radio silence. As much as I would like to say they're going to people who are perfect and they'll be fine, I don't know. And their mother doesn't owe me an explanation, but I do wish them and her the best, and in the best case scenario, I pray for her health. No a-holes here. It's a tragic circumstance, but it would have been cruel to take them on and be unable to give them the care they need. A parent needs to want to be a parent to raise healthy kids, and you, knowing this, made the fairest call. There is no shame in it. You are not a bad person, and I wish everyone in this scenario the very best. I'm sorry for your loss and this situation. It's incredibly hard for everyone involved, and it's clear that you put a lot of thought into your decision. No a-holes here. The kids need to go to a home with someone who is both willing and able to care for them, and you are neither. You recognize this and are doing what you feel is best for them, not biting off more than you can chew for the sake of avoiding hurting someone's feelings. It's a crappy, no-win situation for everyone involved. Alright, that's where I think I'm going to end today's episode, guys. As always, I really do hope you learned something or just really enjoyed the posts that were put up today. Quick shout out to all my new and existing Patreon and channel members. You should be able to see your name on screen right now, and if you don't, then I don't think you're part of the club, and you really should join the club because it's a great club. And I want to thank every single one of you guys for supporting me in this journey. It really means so much to me, and I love you all so much for it. Thank you for helping me out. As you can tell, I'm now happy and healthy back in Australia. Thank God it's not cold like Ireland. I don't like wearing jumpers everywhere. I prefer the heat. Thank you very much. I know that's an unpopular opinion. Anyway, guys, I really do hope you enjoyed today's episode. I'll see you in the next one. Have a good day, night, sleep, whatever you're up to, and I'll see you later. Bye.